Okay, so let's look at the power of NextGen AI platform. Let's log in real quick here. So I would like to switch to Toshiba to showcase the majority of the features. It will be one of the best use cases due to the complexity of the content there and the agents and integrations. So yeah, let's get to it. So in this case, we're gonna look at this agent called Alex, the voice version of it and the email version of it. So both these agents have one common goal: collecting meters reports. So basically, in essence, it means that you are sending out campaigns to reach out to these companies or organizations that have these devices and their meters for that month are missing, which means that we need to collect them. And you can imagine how that scales up for a big corporation like Toshiba. And then that would be one of the best use cases to create agents such as Alex to do that for them in an automated way, in a well-structured way. And of course, because these reports are being generated daily, what are the missing meters? These get fed through these agents automatically, and the agents will do the outbound campaign. All right, so let's get to it. First of all, we need to look at the structure of this agent. Let's look at the voice agent first. So we have Alex voice. This is where we put the name. We have assigned it to the sales department, and we assigned the customer outreach role as defined into the organization. And of course, I can show you real quick here that we have set up some departments: marketing, sales, tech support, which refer to the actual departments, at least for the purposes of this demo, through the Toshiba organization. Then we assign agents to each department in order for people who's going to be assigned to these departments to have access only through those agents, not anything else. So basically means that marketing will not be able to see what sales is doing and vice versa. So back to Alex. Now that we covered what it means to have a department and role, we can also define a description, and then we get to the good stuff. So this is where we assign the phone number. In this case, we have integrated a Twilio provider number for the purposes of the agent to use it as inbound and outbound. Then we have this feature called daily reports configuration, which in essence means that the agent will be able to send you reports on a daily basis. After the day is done to the next day, you actually define an hour here where you prefer to get that report. And you can also define the time zone and the list of emails that will receive this particular report. And the agent to the next day will make sure that you receive this particular email. Okay, so as we go down, it gets better. Now we are into the section where we have to define things like the provider. And NextGen AI is LLM agnostic, which means that you can choose among different providers. In this case, we have OpenAI, but if you have your own preference, you can always switch to another that fits your use case better. And of course, you can also choose the model. Especially useful for people who are already used to using a special legacy version from the past that could not probably be available any longer on the other platforms that we're using, like ChatGPT. We sometimes don't have access to those, but in our platform you will, and you can make yourself sure that you're going to always find these legacy versions, which makes it very useful, so that your whatever your use case is, it's not going to change in time. It's going to be the same, and you don't have to be worried about changes in the market. Now we get to the behavior. This is the most important part of the agent. This is where you get to define some bullet point items that relate to the behavior of the agent. You're basically making sure that the agent doesn't go outside these rules. Or if you want to make sure that the agent always does something, you have to define it here into this bullet point structure. And then we have personality. This is where you get to give the agent a little bit of personality, like what's your name, who do you work for, just in case it will be asked from somebody else. But one of the most important sections, and this is where we get to create custom ones as much as you wish, and each section could be specialized for something else. And because we're dealing with an outbound agent, we want to have a script, which means that the agent needs to know what is it going to say from the beginning of the call till the end. And because the agent is going to do the whole conducting of that call, which means from the very first message, then the next question, and then an opening statement of sorts, or well-defined step-by-step process that it has to follow and collect information, that means that we are dealing with a script, and we have to make that script, make that available here. We have another area where we define first message, goodbye message. Pretty straightforward, right? The very first thing that the agent says, and the very last thing. Then we have voicemail detection. Pretty useful if the agent is outbound, like in this case, in case the agent detects a voicemail system, it's gonna say this message so that whoever's listening to the message will know really well why they got this particular call. Call forwarding is very useful as well. You never know, there might be a need for an escalation to happen. And basically, the agent has to forward this call to a human operator. Could be a human that requires more specialized support, or they might be arguing about something. So you want to make sure that you have call forwarding always on. And this is where you get to define the number, and the agent will make sure instantly to instantly forward the call to a human operator. Then we have voice selection. This is where you get to choose what's the best voice that best fits your use case. We have selected Mark here, but there's plenty of more that we have pre-selected for you from the best providers out there to make sure that you are using premium voices. Let's take a quick look at Mark's voice, see how it sounds.
I think this is a really nice way to just talk naturally together, talk plainly. Let's give it a shot.
That's a good voice, right? But we have many, many of that. Like another one could be Hope. Let's see how Hope sounds.
Welcome back to the Balance Podcast. I'm Hope, and today we're diving into something that's been coming up a lot lately.
That was also a very, very good voice. All right, so we're going with Mark for this one. I'm not doing any changes here. I'll just go with this version that we've built. Shall we give it a try? Now it will be the best moment to do a test. So now we are into the sandbox environment. This is where we get to test the agent that we were looking at earlier. We don't have to get into a phone call. We can just do it from the web. You probably are using a laptop that has an integrated microphone and speakers, of course. So you can have that call right here, right now. Okay, so selecting the agent, this is the only one right now. So we also have these placeholders that are available in the script. They are defined into the script. Whatever you define into the script, that can change later in the middle of a campaign. They will get replaced with the actual values. But now we are running a simulation, so we can define this as we wish. In this case, let's go with the date, today's date, and now we are able to start the call.
Hello, this is Alex calling on behalf of Toshiba Business Solutions for the monthly meter collection. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. May I please confirm that I'm speaking with the person responsible for reporting printer usage?
That's me, yes.
Perfect, thank you. I'll guide you through the process. Please check your Toshiba device's screen and provide the following details. 1. The model of the device, for example, eStudio 3515AC. 2. The serial number. 3. The black and white count.
You know what,
4.
Alex? I have an idea. Instead of you giving me this list one by one, which is I don't think it's very human-like. It's artificial. I would like you to give this list to me in a more human way. Like try to get them together into a sentence, right? Put them nicely. Let's go and have a trial. Can you?
Of course, I can adjust. Thank you for the feedback. Could you please check your Toshiba device and let me know the model name, its serial number, the black and white count, the color count, and the date when you took these readings, all in one go if possible.
Of course. Okay, let me see. The model of the printer is eStudio 3515AC.
Got it, thank you. Please let me know the serial number of the device, plus the black and white count, color count, and the reading date.
Okay, the serial number is AC112103BA.
Noted, thank you. Now, could you please provide the black and white count, the color count, and the reading date?
Sure. So the black count is 15,000. The color is 2,000, and the reading date is from yesterday.
Perfect. Just to confirm, model eStudio 3515AC, serial AC112103BA, black and white count 15000, color count 2000, reading date 11/22/2025, yesterday's date. Is that correct?
Yep, that sounds right.
It seems I need your company name or customer code to complete the submission. Could you please provide that information?
Yeah, it's NextGen Technologies.
Thank you. Your meter reading has been successfully submitted for NextGen Technologies. If you need technical support, please email us at support@toshiba.com. Have a great day.
That was awesome, right? But you know what's even more awesome? Let's go to the system that we've set up for a demo, right? This supposedly is the CRM where we were gathering these meter readings. And look at this entry right here. Is the one that we just went through right now. It's the exact model that we gave. It's the serial number, the black and color counts, even the total. And it's there right now, as soon as the call ended. That's pretty cool. All right, let's get back to the platform. Okay, so this conversation that we just had right now is also available for a manager or an employee that is dealing with this particular use case. They can always take a look at these conversations in under communication. You can get here, select the agent. I did select Alex, the voice agent. And look, we have the conversation right here. It's the full transcript, and we can always play the audio right here. And NextGen Prime, to whom I'll introduce you shortly, is making a very good job of summarizing the call into this paragraph here, so you don't have to go through the whole transcript. And if you see that there's something really relevant or worth looking at, you can then go to the transcript or listen through the audio. All right, so I mentioned Prime, right? Let's go to the organization. Back here, we were here earlier. We took a look at the departments, which you can always manage over here. So what you have here on the left is the management of the current departments, or you can always create new ones, and you can then assign roles to each department. In the middle here, we have the agent assignments. So you basically have the full list of all agents that you have in your system, and you can assign them a specific department and a role. Okay, so I was going to introduce you to Prime, which is this guy over here. He's the AI manager of the whole workforce that you have employed into the platform. So you can interact with Prime over here. This is where you get to ask specific questions that you cannot get from dashboards. You know, dashboards are considered dead nowadays. They are good for giving us totals and numbers, but we don't get the full story out of some numbers, right? Especially for some use cases such as this one. We want to know how many people argued about something, or how many people complained that they had problems reading the meters. You know, things that you cannot definitely forever, ever find in a dashboard, right? So this would be a very good place where you could interact with Prime. You can type that question in, and you'll get a specialized answer, because Prime is able to go into each agent and get their whatever activities that they did in the database and get back with the answer that you're looking for, and all that at the speed of software. Okay, so there's some other areas of interest here. Let's look at the Agentic University and Training Center. This is where you get to upload your files, your knowledge bases, so that you can share this information with your agents. And this is particularly useful in large-scale operations. So you remember from earlier, we were going into the scripts of each agent and giving them instructions how to behave and everything. But if you have many files, like manuals, especially for Toshiba, right? Let's say for a moment that somebody doesn't know how to read the meters, but the agent should be able to guide them how to read that meters. So we all know that a ChatGPT or Anthropic agent, an average one, would be able to guide them, generally at least, through that process. But for specific use cases like this one, we rely on specialized documents like user manuals that the company itself has built through the years for each model. This would be the best place to upload this information and then assign them to the agents, such as this one right here. We have assigned this particular knowledge base, which is the meter guide, already through Alex and John, which is pretty great. Now the agents immediately ingest all of that bulk information. Doesn't matter how pages it is. The agent will fetch only the right information when needed. Okay, so another feature, because we're dealing with outbound, it's important for us to be able to import contacts. One of the many ways to do it is contacts page. We import here CSV files, Excel files. And if you don't have something like that, you can get our template. It's already predefined with the columns that we're looking for and the order as well. You can copy paste that data there, and then you can go back and import it right here. After you've done that, you'll be able to filter the contacts. And by the way, in the template, you can even define tags. Tags are pretty useful, especially if you're going to do segmentation of the contacts when you're importing them like in bulk, like 10,000 contacts at once, right? You want to segment them, maybe you want to do them in batches, so pretty useful as well. After that, you would go to campaigns. This is where you get to implement phone, text, email campaigns. A general campaign would look like this. You define a name, a description, then you select which agent is going to conduct that campaign. There's a need to define a date when this is going to happen, time zone, the earliest call time, and the latest call time, which means that there's a window from the very first call till the end. This is the system trying to load balance the whole number of calls that should be happening in that date, right? When there's high loads and high volumes going on, it's going to try to balance that so the system doesn't get overwhelmed. But it's going to make sure that everything happens until the latest call time that you define here. Then this is where you get to import the contacts as well, or you do it from the contacts in bulk by selecting specific tags. For this particular case, We're going to look at Alex, the email agent, which is pretty similar to Alex, the voice agent. But here we're dealing with an email campaign. So let's look at how it is to send out an email campaign. So we have a really cool feature here, which is the creation of email templates. You don't have to know any coding. You don't have to hire anyone to do this. You don't have to bother the marketing department either. What you do is like create a template here. In this case, we already created one. What you do here is like you just drag and drop items from the left to the workspace here. We have drag and dropped a heading, another heading, smaller, and this is actually an image now that I think of it. Then we have this heading, and then we have text. You can drag and drop other items like buttons, like this, very easy. And you can give it specific text and actions, or you can give them placeholders. You're pretty familiar with placeholders already. So what you do here is like you can write somewhere here contact.name. So when the actual campaign goes out, because we already know the name of the person that we're calling and the number, of course, and other information that we can pass, it's going to replace that placeholder with the actual name of the person. That's also very, very useful in case you want to customize that email and make it look so well. So enterprise grade. After you've finished creating the template, you can always go and create an email template, email campaign, then assign the template, give it a name, select those contacts, and go. It's gonna go. So this particular agent is benefiting from 2 integrations, and we have plenty in our marketplace. This particular one is using Outlook to send out emails, and I've connected it to mine right now. And then we have also selected a custom API integration, which means that we will be able to integrate even with a custom system like this one. So let's say that you're not writing into any of these platforms here, but you're writing to a custom one. So what you do here is you give those parameters, like what URL is it accessed from, and other information that we need to actually be able to connect through that system, and define even the parameters that we're going to send there. And the agent is going to look at these tools just like a human would when they're performing their daily tasks, right? So the agent will look at these tools and know when to use each one of them. It's going to look at all the information that you've put there, and it's going to make sure that it's going to use them the proper way. So the agent in this case is able to send and wait for a reply. So if somebody is coming back with information like meter readings through an email, the agent is going to make sure first that the information looks right. And if so, it's going to call this custom API and save the data. And of course, we go back here and we see that we got some of them via email as well. And if somebody's, I don't know, not sending the information right, something doesn't look right, the agent is going to reply and say, hey, we're missing this or that. And then until the full information is available, only then the agent is going to do the calling of this particular integration so that it sends the data right there. So you just witnessed yourself 2 use cases, the voice and the email agent, performing hand-to-hand with each other different operations, in this case, reading information, writing information into custom systems, performing outbound calls, and all of that is also available through the playbooks. You might not be a master at script writing. Sometimes none of us are. So we made sure that we have put here some of these agents, and they have different use cases available under the playbooks. You can select one that fits you best. And if you find one that it looks like it's like 80% the one that you're looking for, you click this button here and it creates the agent for you. It's going to show up here, and then you can go and do the fine tuning yourself. All right, so hope you enjoyed it.